What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Steph Speaks Radio. Today, I have with me Nora, who is the owner and creative director of Engaged With Nora, which if you're in the Cleveland area, you probably already know who Nora is. I've known you without knowing you for a very long time. Yeah.
Well, I feel the same, Stephanie.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been watching you on Instagram for years, and we have so many mutual friends, so it's kind of crazy that this is our first time meeting.
I know.
My name is Nora. I own Engaged With Nora, which is a luxury wedding planning and design firm here in Cleveland. We're known for producing unique and out-of-the-box events for clients looking to put their own spin on their wedding day.
Yeah. And then something interesting too, because I know we're going to dive into everything today. I know that before event planning, you had a different route. So what were you doing before that? Because I want to know how you got into this.
Yeah, my path to event planning is a very non-traditional one. I actually spent the majority of my life as a professional performer. So I was a professional singer and dancer since I was a child. I went to school for musical theater at Kent State University, and then after graduating, had an agent sign me, so I moved to New York.
Oh.
So while in New York, I was auditioning and just trying to fill my books, and in the meantime, needed something as a source of income. And a friend of mine was leaving her position at Kleinfeld Bridal, which is a very famous bridal salon. That's where they film Say Yes to the Dress.
Oh.
And so I kind of took her position and fell in love with the industry from there. Yeah. It was very hard to leave the performing world, but I find that so many of my skills have transferred over. And instead of me being the one on stage, I get to be the director now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I can kind of see though how those worlds would coexist, and I'm just excited to dive in because I'm all about the entrepreneurial journey and like boss bitches running a business, obviously.
Yeah,
because that's really what we're here about. Because I haven't got to have a conversation like this in a really long time. So obviously, like I know you kind of transitioned into what you're doing now, but when was the decision to kind of like, I guess, go full time with it, like really make it like what you're doing? Because I actually don't know, how long have you been doing this now?
8 years.
8 years, okay.
Which is crazy. Yeah. The decision was not easy. I had spent so much of my life devoted to one craft. So to leave that was not a spur of the moment decision. My now husband and I were long distance while I was in New York. So we were long distance for 2.5 years. And an opportunity arose within the Kleinfeld brand for me to take a promotion, which was a remote position.
Okay.
So, and it was full time. And I was looking at my life and where I wanted to take things. And the hustle culture of the theater world was just no longer fulfilling me. I felt like, why am I waiting for someone to give me the opportunity when I can make the opportunity myself? So I kind of made the decision that I wanted to leave performing. And so I moved back to Cleveland to be with my now husband and went full-time at Kleinfeld and spent an additional year traveling the world, staying at luxury hotel properties and creating strategic partnerships through their hotel blocking division, which gave me a broader scope of the event world and what's possible within the hospitality industry.
And when you started it, was this all just you too when you first began?
Yeah, when I started Engaged with Nora, it was just me. But my director of sales, Casey, I brought on within the first month because the response to me launching the company was so big that I was like, oh, I got to move quickly and I got to build a team and I got to make sure that we have the right people and resources in place to scale this in a way that we can make sure that every client feels taken care of while still being able to take on the mass amount of events that we do now.
Yeah. And I guess I really want to start with, because I know I can also go back and forth with you on this topic as someone that's also built a business, built a brand. Both of our industries, I would say, can be pretty competitive, right? Like there's a lot going on, whether that is in the fitness and wellness space. And obviously the wedding space is, I mean, that's not really going away. I hope anytime soon, right? But it's obviously like a competitive industry. So I guess from you starting and looking at where you are now, what do you think were the key things that has made you stand out with your brand and what you do?
So I think there's a couple things. First of all, I was in the industry for
Yeah.
years before I started the company.
Yeah.
So shortly after moving back to Cleveland, I started working for Marigold Catering Events, where really my training took place.
Yeah.
That was doing, 60 events myself my first year. That was managing teams of staff, bartenders, servers, delivery drivers, managing a venue, working with all the different vendors here in Cleveland. So when I took the leap to start my own company, I already had so many industry connections. And we launched in 2020. We launched fall of 2020. So
Yeah.
everyone thought I was crazy because there were no events happening during COVID. But what actually worked out really nicely is that I had so many existing relationships with vendors and other planners that they couldn't take on additional events for 2021. So they started just referring new inquiries to me because I was the only one who had availability for the following year. So my goal for 2021 was to have 12 weddings. We had 64.
Oh, wow. That's a lot in the first year.
First year. Yeah.
Holy crap. Okay. And that was like the first main year too you were
That was the
doing
first,
it,
yeah.
though.
We launched October 2020, so we were booking for the 2021 season at that point. So we had a full calendar our first year, and then I went, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No, girl,
no, we got to move quickly.
we know what's something I actually really want to highlight that you said, and as someone listening and kind of that stuck out to me, is that you going into this, you already kind of had a little bit of background experience. You didn't just jump in and say like, hey, I know everything and I know everything how to do this. Because I feel like in a lot of the world now, especially I feel like now there's a lot of stuff with social media. Everyone wants to have a brand, have a business, which is fine. And I always say to people like, hey, explore that if you have a passion. But there's rungs of the ladder that you have to climb to get to the top. And I really like how you said, like, you took the time building the industry connections. You kind of like built really the foundation of what you then grew from. And I think that's really important for people to understand is like, if I had everything that I now have when I first started, I wouldn't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like I had to put in work to like gain my experience, my knowledge. Like you, I also built a lot of connections too, but that didn't just happen because I just walked in and said, hey, everyone, I had to like build it over time. And I think that's important to highlight.
And people don't want to be a guinea pig. When they're hiring you for a professional service, they want to make sure that they are hiring an expert.
Yeah.
So in the wedding industry, and I'm sure you see this in the fitness industry as well, there's a lot of people who just kind of jump in and they're like, oh, I love this. I love working out. I loved planning my own wedding. Why don't I start a wedding business?
Yes.
And that's a huge mistake because it's a tight-knit community.
Yeah.
And if people don't know who you are, they will not refer people to you. And honestly, I get feedback from other vendors all the time like, oh, we just had this coordinator this past week who knew nothing.
Yeah.
And so you're going to get ostracized in the industry, and being able to build from that place is really, you're making it much harder for yourself. So my biggest piece of advice is that if you want to start a business, you have to train under other people first. You have to learn the ropes. You have to know everything that you can. And you'll still learn once you have the business too. I'm still learning every day. I'm sure you're still learning every day and refining your process. But if you go in just being like, I really like this, you're going to fail, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I do think like passion, of course, can breed purpose. And I really do think those two things coexist 100%. Obviously, you have to have a passion, something to want to create purpose from it. But if there's anything I've learned in my journey, it's literally that it takes time. Like I've now been doing this for, pretty much almost like around a decade at this point. And it's crazy when I look at it and I think like every single year built on top of each other. I didn't know the people I know now when I first started, and I didn't know the stuff that I know now when I first started. It literally was putting in time, gaining experience, getting exposure, and trusting the process. But I think a lot of people give up before they hit that point because it is overwhelming, and there is a lot with being an entrepreneur. It seems really fun and alluring to a lot of people, but like, when we walked in, I told you, like, a few years ago, I had shingles from entrepreneurship. So, there's a lot that goes into running a business that people don't understand.
It's a lot of sacrifice. Like, I think
lot.
people think entrepreneurship, you get to make your own hours. If you want to take a vacation, you can take a vacation.
Yeah.
But in a service-based entrepreneurship business, you are actually just accountable to your clients.
Yeah.
So if you have to go to a dentist appointment, it means that your clients are not getting a response to their email.
Oh, I know.
So then you get the wrath coming from people, and you're like, I was simply at a dentist appointment.
Yeah.
And it's a complete. You have to put your whole self into it in order for it to grow the way that you want it to. And I think that's something that shocks people a lot too, is that you are a slave to your company until you can start to delegate amongst a team.
And what does this look like for you as someone that really is a creative? You're a creative. Like, obviously you do beautiful work with everything, but there's a difference with creative and then the business side. So it's like kind of taking, and I learned this with fitness too, obviously as someone that's really into the fitness world, the fitness space. Well, it's two different things when you have that and then business, and you have to like kind of coexist them. So what have you learned, I guess, about entrepreneurship up until this point as coming as a creative, but then now like, oh, I got to also be the owner and the business manager, the finance, everything. There's so many parts and pieces with that. Yeah,
I think that's actually where my theater background plays a huge role in this, right? Yeah. Because when I was a performer, I was always typically in a leadership position. So whether that was choreographing or assisting with choreography or being a dance captain or being a section leader, I was always in a position of authority. So being able to balance the creative and the logical side of my brain has been a skill I've been working on since I was a kid. So in business, it comes a little bit more naturally to me because I can turn those switches on and off. But I think the hardest part is sacrificing the creative side in order to fulfill the logistics and administrative side. Like there are things I have to turn down because I simply don't have time to manage the business and also take on that project. So and my director of sales, Casey, is often looking at me and saying, Nora, you don't have time to do that right now. Like, I'm like, we should do this. We should throw this event. We should have this community experience for our clients. Casey's like, when are you going to do that? You work 60 hours a week. When are you going to do that? And, we're backlogged and it's the busiest time of the year. So that's the hardest part. But yeah, the creative side is the fun side. That's where I get to find the most joy. And then in the administrative side, that's where I can really put my nose to the grind and just work as hard as I can.
Yeah. And it's a lot to learn because some of us we don't always know that side of things when we get into it. Like,
oh my gosh, taxes?
No one told.
Expense reports? Yeah.
I literally, there's so many people I train or I just have friendships with, and we all are business owners. And it's just funny because we're all we didn't know any of this shit when we first got into it. No one tells you. No one knows. Again, and it's not to make anyone afraid of entrepreneurship. I just think there needs to be more talk because so many people want to do it now. So many people want to have a brand, whether it be an overall brand, a personal brand, a business, all these things. And there's just so many details and things that I'm sure we both have learned along the way that a lot of people just had no idea on. It's crazy when you think about it.
Even licensing and insurance is a whole thing that people don't talk about. I'm very lucky. Both of my parents are entrepreneurs themselves. Cool. So I grew up in a household hearing about this stuff. That was classic dinner table conversation is, hey, have you filed this? And blah, blah, blah. Okay, and we have to get a DBA. And, that was always something that was around my world. But even when I started the company, I'm calling my dad and being like, hey, what do I do about this? I didn't know this was a thing. And there's very few resources out there. I feel like it's the barrier to entry to be an entrepreneur is low, but to be a successful entrepreneur, it's a high bar. Yeah. You have to have a lot of information.
Yeah. How did you keep up with it as you started to grow? Because obviously I've seen now how big you guys have gotten, and it's amazing. You really are the main, in my opinion at least, when I'm looking up someone that is in the industry doing what you're doing, you are the number one name that I see. For real, no, it's always Engaged With Nora. I have clients come in, they're like, yeah, I'm looking to apply to have Engaged With Nora, help me. I was it's always Engaged With Nora. It's funny. But again, it's because your name has really gotten out there, and I see it and I admire it, and I think it's awesome. And I'm wondering, how did you keep up with the growing pains though? Because again, in just a few years, I feel like the same thing happened to me though, because which I'll get to in a second. I was doing the thing, but then there was one year, boom, I just skyrocketed with my social media presence, my business, my brand. And it was hard. It's exciting, but when you do grow fast at one point, it's cool, but it's also like, okay, there's a lot to keep up with at the same time.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I never wanted to say no to a client,
Yeah.
right? If they were a good match, they want to work with us and they were willing to pay our rates, who am I to say, no, sorry, we can't accommodate you?
Yeah.
So building the team was something that I did very quickly.
Yeah.
And I almost wish I would have paced myself a little bit more. I almost wish we would have grown slower. Just because I made a lot of mistakes, you know? And the last thing you want is for your quality of product to not fit the expectation of the client. And not that that was happening with us, but I was having panic nightmares every night, being like, did so-and-so do this?
Yeah.
Did so-and-so do that? Was this taken care of? And if I had taken the growth a little bit slower and maybe said no to some opportunities, I think it would have circumvented a lot of costly mistakes. But the single biggest thing I can say is to hire the right people. Hire the right people. Or hire the people that you feel like are a good fit for your brand and your company and create a role for them.
Can you go into that a little bit more?
Yeah. Everyone has very specific sets of skills and everyone has very specific training and things that they like too.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll bring one of our planners in full time and I'll see them work and I'm like, oh, actually, they're really shining in this area. They're having troubles in these areas. That's okay. Is that something that we're going to work on, or is that something I'm going to delegate to another person on the team? But this area, they're shining. They're shining, and I see their passion. And when they work on this side of their position, they light up.
Yeah.
And so instead of focusing on the stuff that they're struggling with or not doing as well with, I tend to put more things in their basket on the things that they're really loving. So I have an associate planner. She's the coolest. She's our resident cool girl.
Yeah. Cool.
And she came on full time with us this year. And this was my first time seeing her in the office, actually working. And I realized that she had such a great sense for marketing and social media and the design side of things. So instead of forcing her into the role that I initially hired her for, we redirected her role to be more of like our marketing associate. Yeah. So now she's thriving in that position, and we've hired in other people to take in the work that she was struggling with.
Okay.
And it just balances out the team. There's a planner that I really love, named Jamie. She's with Wild Hearts Events out in California, and she's been a lovely mentor for me. And she has this saying, she calls it your zone of genius. And when everybody is in their zone of genius, the machine is working, right? So being able to pinpoint that on your team and bring that out of people is always going to help your brand grow faster.
What do you think makes a good leader of a team?
I think being willing to do the work that no one else will do. Like I always tell my team, I won't ask you to do something that I wouldn't do myself. And in the wedding industry, we're the catch-all, right? If someone drops a glass on the dance floor, I'm the one mopping it up. Mm-hmm. If a vendor hasn't delivered something, I'm the one calling to source it from somewhere else. I've cleaned toilets at venues because I couldn't find a venue manager and the toilet needed to be taken care of. It's that kind of work ethic that will move you much further. And why would your team members ever do what you tell them to do if you wouldn't be willing to do it yourself?
I love that. And I like it's really showing and shedding the light on, like, you have to take ownership as the owner.
Yeah.
Why do we call it owner? Why do we call it ownership? I think people forget that those two words are pretty much one and the same. And that's the thing when you're running something, like I've always said the joke, well, I wear all the hats, but it's because I do.
You
At
have
the end of
to.
the day, even if you do end up sourcing and having a whole team, you still have to be able to wear all the hats when you run a business. You still have to be able to be the one to pick things up when things fall down. And you also are the person that people are looking up to under you, because in a way, like, yes, you are managing and running, but also you could be a mentor to those other people too. Like, you're trying to like lead by example and do all the things, but when shit hits the fan, you're still the one that's going to have to go and be the one to fix it.
Always.
Yeah.
And also, if a team member leaves you,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
you can't ask the other members of your team to absorb that work. Or you can, but only to a certain degree. So when we've had staff turnover, I step back into the position of the person who has left. So if I don't know how to do all the work that my team members do, then how can I, one, direct them and train them properly, and two, pick up the pieces when they're left on the floor?
Yeah. I mean, when you first started, I know you said you had one person you hired within a month, but I don't know if I asked, or maybe you said it, I didn't catch it. How many people do you have under you right now?
We have 25 planners on the team.
Okay.
Now that's not all full time.
No, okay, no. I was wondering, like, did I actually ask you how many people are under you? Because I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 25 on the team. There's 5 of us that are full time.
Okay.
And then an additional 20 assistants that either work wedding days with us, just as assistant planners on the day. But we also have an associate team.
Okay.
So all of our coordination clients work with an associate planner. So
Yeah.
we have 8 associate planners on the team.
Okay.
3 of which who are full time, 5 who are contract based.
Okay.
So it's a big team, and I'm not in the office with the whole team all the time. Like the full-time team, we sit all in the same room and we're talking constantly. But my assistant planner who works 5 weddings a year, I might not even see her during the year because she might be working on other people's events that I'm not on.
Okay.
So it's really about making sure that the standards of our company are clear to the team, so that when anyone from our team steps on site, the vendors and the client know what to expect. And the minute someone isn't fulfilling those responsibilities or living up to our standards is when we have to start having conversations.
Yeah. And I know I'm gonna like kind of switch a gear here for a second, but I'm also thinking, okay, I know we're talking about a lot of entrepreneurship, but I know there's also people here that may not run businesses, but they're gonna get married or they have. So I was like, okay, I gotta speak to both people, because I'm like, I'm not there yet. I'm just in the hustle right now. But again, as someone that works with clients and trains a lot of people for weddings, I'm constantly having conversations. So I have a plethora of questions to ask you, just because I've learned from people what they have questions on. Since you plan like hundreds, maybe even thousands at this point, of weddings at this point, for people that are getting in and just starting their wedding planning journey, like, where do people even begin with this? I don't even know how to even ask that, but it's like, I don't even know. That's your world, not mine.
It's a great question, Stephanie. It's a great question, because I think people do this wrong.
Okay.
So the first thing that happens when people get engaged is they go, we need a date, we need a venue.
Okay.
You don't even know what you need yet. So I always suggest that the first thing you do when you start planning your wedding is to have a group meeting, a sit-down meeting with all people involved in the planning process. So if that's you and your fiance, fine. If that's you and your fiance and your parents, fine. If that's all parents, great. But anybody who's going to be involved in the finances or decision-making process surrounding your wedding, you need to have a sit-down meeting with them before you reach out to any venues or vendors, because you need to determine 3 things right off the bat: location, guest count, and budget. Those are the big things. And those are often the things that people will fight about during the process. Because if you don't have a location picked out, your future mother-in-law may be expecting it to be closer to where she and her family are.
Yeah.
But you might say, we want to go to Italy. And your fiance might say, no, I think we want it to be near our home. Or maybe your parents want it to be near their home.
Yeah.
Or maybe the majority of your guests are in a different city and you live in New York and all your family's in Cleveland, so you're deciding we're going to have the wedding in Cleveland. So first of all, where's the wedding happening? Then we talk about guest count. Guest count is the single biggest factor for the budget for your wedding. The average wedding, this is going to make you sick.
I'm scared.
The average wedding spends about $500 per guest. That's average. My clients spend between $1,000 to $2,000 per guest.
What's the average overall cost for a wedding in America in 2025? Can you please? I want to know.
That's such a loaded question.
Okay, I know.
Okay, so if you Google average cost of a wedding, U.S. 2025,
Oh no.
it's going to say somewhere around $35,000 to $40,000. But what they don't tell you is that includes all weddings. That includes courthouse ceremonies.
Okay.
That includes elopements.
Yes.
That includes people having 10 people in their backyard.
Yeah.
That's where they're using those averages from.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
So realistically, if you are getting married in 2025 or 2026 and you have 150 guests, you're looking at about $80,000 to $100,000.
Great. That's wonderful. I love that for all of I hear that and I'm just like, oh.
Panic.
Yeah.
Panic. Yeah.
Okay.
But you don't have to do it that way.
Okay, yeah, no, I know. That's
You don't have to do it that way. Something I ask my clients, and I think I mentioned this to you guys earlier, something I ask my clients in our first meeting is, why are you having this wedding?
Okay, that's fair.
Why are you having this wedding? Are you having this wedding because this is what you've envisioned your entire life and this is what you think you should be doing? Are you having this wedding because you want something to post on Instagram? Are you having this wedding to please your parents because they've always dreamed of this wedding for you?
Yeah.
Why are you having this wedding? And if you can't tell me why, then we need to reevaluate. Because why are you spending $100,000?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't know, then we need to figure that out.
I always say too, and to pause you there because this goes beyond weddings. This is for so much deeper in life. I always talk about people anchoring to their why, not to get all coach on you.
No, for real.
But when I have people come to me and we're not adhering to the protocol, okay, I have people coming for the gym, they're trying to do their thing, whatever may have you. People fall off. They're like, well, I'm not getting the results I want. Okay, well, what's your deeper why? It can't just be something superficial and well, I'm just trying to lose a few pounds. I'm trying to get in shape for my birthday. I'm like, no, I need a deep why. And if you don't know what that why is, go spend some time thinking about it and then come back to me and tell me why you're here and why do you want this. And if somebody can't really get clear and anchor on that, I feel like everything else is going to be a mess.
Always.
Yeah.
I think what happens a lot of times with clients of mine is that they get into the process and they lose perspective. In more ways than one.
Yeah.
And then there's this inevitable point where we're a couple months out from the wedding when the stress and anxiety of all of these decisions hits them. And then they start to question everything that they've done so far.
Yeah.
But that only happens because you're not making decisions from a place of purpose. You're making decisions from a place of necessity or requirement. And those are never going to truly be authentic to you.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I can tell someone when planning their wedding is to stay authentic.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't have donuts for dessert at a restaurant, why are we having donuts for dessert at your wedding?
That's a good point. And you know what I think is hard, and I would love to kind of talk on this because this is a real thing and I think about the future of when even, I get married, but also again, speaking from all these girls that come in, this people pleasing when it comes to weddings. And I would love to talk to you about that. And the thing is, there's no shade because I get it. That's really hard. There's a lot of factors in planning a wedding. And I think that the light shifts away from us and to everyone else and trying to make sure everyone else is okay and happy and trying to appease everyone. And I really feel like this is when wedding planning gets stressful.
Yeah, I think people take too many people's opinions into account when they're planning their wedding. I'm a mom's worst nightmare as a planner.
Yes, girl. Go off, girl. Let's get it.
I'm a mom's worst nightmare. A mom comes in and they've been picturing this pretty princess wedding for their daughter their entire lives.
Yes.
And I've had moms say this to me. I've been imagining this day since she was born. And I'm like, well, first of all, how sad is that?
No.
This is the one thing that you hope for your daughter is to get married.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And to have a wedding? That's insane.
Yeah.
But also, I'm the one that's like, yeah, let's do a psychedelic, drag queen filled, colorful,
Yeah.
crazy party
Yeah.
instead of this white, simple wedding.
Yeah.
So oftentimes I'm in battle and usually defending the client's choices to
Yeah.
other people in the
Yeah.
planning process.
Yeah.
Which is always an uncomfortable position to be
Yeah,
in,
I get
but
it. I
I'm
get
happy
it.
to do it because as long as that couple is making decisions that they are happy with and that truly represent them as a couple, then I don't care what anybody else thinks.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how you should feel too when planning your wedding. As long as your guests are well fed, entertained, and comfortable, then who cares what they think about anything else?
Yeah. Yeah.
And truly, what was the last wedding you went to where you remember what the centerpiece looked like?
I know. Yeah.
True.
I've heard from people, because again, from just different friends I have in the wedding industry, they always say the main things, it's like the food and the music.
Yes.
Is what people care about. But would you, I guess,
Truly.
what do you, as someone that's planning these events, what do you think, if you were to narrow down, maybe let's say, I don't know, top three, if three is the magic number, what are the main things that people really, you think, care about? Or what do you think should be the most, the biggest focal points in the planning process?
Sure.
Yeah, whatever you make.
I think documentation is number one.
Oh, that's true. Okay,
Photo
yes.
and video.
Yes.
And content creation these days too.
Yes, ma'am.
That is the single, if you're going to make an investment anywhere in your wedding, it should be with those vendors. Because when the wedding day is done, all you have left is the photo and video.
Correct.
So again, no one's going to remember that you had $400 centerpieces.
Yeah.
I love a $400 centerpiece. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I love design. I love creating atmospheres for people.
Of course.
But if you are someone who is budget conscious or someone who's truly trying to get to the necessities, photo and video. That's number one. Number two is food, catering, bar. Because that's the heart of throwing a good party. And then, number three is entertainment.
Of course.
I have one of my husband's college friends. We went to their wedding earlier this year, and they are partiers. Like, I have seen them throw down over the years. And we're at their wedding, and it's a nice wedding. And the DJ starts opening up the dance floor. And I looked to my husband, and I just went, I don't think this DJ wants anyone to dance. I think he's actively trying to not have people dance. Oh, no. Because every time a good song would come on, everybody would rush to the dance floor, and then he would immediately change it to something that you couldn't dance to. And so then everybody spent the entire wedding outside, just chilling, talking, smoking.
Yeah.
And that was so sad to me because, like, these are people who are truly partiers and truly, like, I mean, they're ravers. We should have been having the best dance floor ever at their wedding, but they skimped on a DJ or didn't take enough time to find a DJ that fit their vibe. Yeah. And so the wedding is, clearing out at 9:30 at night.
I see that happen often, though. This is
all the time.
Often I see people leave, or like the dance floor is not really packed, if you will. Like the vibe isn't there. And depending on the couple, too, sometimes you'd expect it to look a little bit different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if the DJ's bad or the band is bad, I have a love-hate relationship with bands. I get it. But you're paying for those hours at the end of the night. You're paying per hour for your wedding.
Of course.
So to have a DJ essentially end your wedding early is such a waste of money. Wouldn't you have rather spent the extra $2,000 to make sure that you had a DJ that was really going to be catering the event to you and your guests and making sure that people were having a good time?
Yeah. And, I'm sure there's people listening that are like, maybe there are dream vendors someone has. Maybe there are a dream vision that someone would love to bring to life. You got that one chance to do this, right? And do it the way you really want. How does someone mix their dream wedding with staying on a budget in today's world? And I know you're going to get that question. And I know there are ways to do it because a lot of people come to me and like, girls get engaged and there's this wave of anxiety. They come to me in the gym. They're like, I literally don't know how I'm going to do this. So I guess if you're speaking to that woman, what would you say?
Yeah, so even with my clients who are spending $500,000, we still can't splurge everywhere,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is like, make your stomach turn.
I know.
You still can't splurge everywhere. So what I always do with my clients is we create areas of focus. So what are going to be the areas that have the biggest impact when it comes to your event? And those are the areas we're going to splurge in. Everywhere else, we're going to skim back. So like I had a client this year spend $80,000 on floral.
Okay.
That's more than what people spend on their entire wedding, and we spent that on floral.
Yep.
That wedding didn't have outrageous centerpieces. It didn't. It had simple. Most of the centerpieces were candles.
Okay.
But what we did is we spent the majority of that budget on the ceremony altar,
Yeah.
on the band stage and floral,
Yeah.
and on a hanging installation over their head table. And those are the things that when guests walk into a room, they're going to go, whoa,
Yeah.
this looks insane, rather than what's directly in front of them on the table. I always say we're trying to create an atmosphere, not individual items, atmosphere.
Yeah.
So when people walk in, what is the vibe? What is the energy?
Yes.
What are people going to remember about this wedding?
Yeah.
And so focus and splurge on those elements, save everywhere else.
I know. I feel like people do stress a lot about the little things that don't matter. Like, what are the main little things that you see people stress on when you're like, what the heck?
Cocktail napkins. When did this become a thing?
Oh.
Like putting your dog's portrait on a cocktail napkin?
I mean,
Do you know how much those cocktail napkins cost?
I guess if you really like your dog. I don't know.
Yeah, but like,
girl.
come on. If the people in the room know you, they know that you love your dog.
Yeah,
Your dog doesn't need to have a custom portrait drawn and then put into foil on napkins.
Yeah.
There's no point to that. No one's going to remember it. No one's going to remember it. I think, and then people also put a huge emphasis on like, just like weird areas. Like I think everyone feels like they need to have this like crazy seating chart.
Yeah.
I love a crazy seating chart, but only if we have the money for it.
Right.
If you're going to sacrifice having, filet mignon for your meal to have a seating chart with little knick-knack favors that everyone's going to leave behind anyways, then you've actually done a disservice to your guests, because your guests don't care about that seating chart, but they do care about what they're putting in their body.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's hard. I mean, and as someone too that I put on like a few of my own events, is just playing around with stuff, and I've learned what matters and what doesn't so much. And I really hear you when you say the atmosphere though. Like people want to feel entertained, they want to feel connected to other people around them and like the atmosphere in general. Like I really value connection. I've learned this in a lot of ways in my business. I really think community and connection do matter, whether that's a wedding or just a general event, whatever that might look like. Having people feel engaged and feeling a part of something really does make a difference versus just showing up and sitting there and not feeling like any, you want to feel immersed in the experience, whether it is a wedding or something else. I really think feeling immersed in what you're doing, I think, is what creates something memorable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
American weddings are quite boring, to be honest.
Yeah.
They all adhere to the same structure.
Yeah.
Which I think is not a good structure.
Yeah.
It's too much to pack into one day. It's a lot of sitting around waiting for things to happen. Don't be afraid to mix it up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to push people to do cocktail hour before their ceremony. Because why would we ever need food and drink to go into more food and drink at dinner?
I'm going to pause you.
That makes no sense.
I want you to tell me, okay, no limits, no boundaries.
Yeah.
Walk me through, if you just could do unconventional, whatever the hell, like, you think, walk me through how you would do a wedding, regardless of what anyone else thinks, whatever. Tell me what that would look like. I just want to know.
Okay.
Off the wall, give me it all.
I have such a strong opinion about this.
Okay, I'm ready, girl.
So, I think weddings have to be 2 days.
Oh. Okay.
Weddings have to be 2 days. They're already multiple day.
Yeah.
We just
Okay.
make the one day more stressful than it needs to be. So the ideal structure for a wedding for me would be Friday.
Okay.
Evening ceremony.
Okay.
6:00 ceremony.
That's kind of hot.
Yeah.
That's sexy.
Doesn't have to be all your guests.
Okay.
It could be a smaller group of guests. It could be everybody, whatever you want. Evening ceremony directly into either a sit-down dinner or a little cocktail reception following. And that starts off your wedding weekend. Then the thing that people are most nervous about for their wedding is the ceremony.
Yeah, I could see that.
So knock it out. And also, it removes the need for us to have a first look. Do you know what a first look is?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it removes that need. You can have a first look that day if you want to, but also because we don't have to worry about all your photos that day, you can just see each other at the ceremony, and it's not going to affect your day or make anyone's job harder. So evening ceremony into some kind of dinner or small reception on Friday night in place of a rehearsal dinner.
Okay, cool.
Saturday, or whatever the second day is.
Yeah.
All your portraits. You do all your photos all day.
Like main photo day.
Yeah. You do 4 hours of photos. Because that's what photographers would love to have is 4 hours of photos. And honestly, that's what a lot of clients want. They want to have so many portraits of themselves. They're spending so much money on this day.
I get it.
They've spent months preparing in the gym for this. They want to make sure that they have portraits. So you have the whole afternoon. You can ride around a party bus, get drunk without having to worry about being drunk at your ceremony, have a good time. You can do outfit changes if you want to. You can basically just enjoy that day knowing that the serious stuff has already taken place. And then that evening you do your reception and an after party.
I've never thought about it like that. But I'm seeing the vision here.
Yeah.
Weddings are a lot in one day, so I
Tons.
do understand that.
It's a lot of the stress and anxiety. Wedding days are chaotic, whether we have, 12 hours to work with the couple that day or whether we have 6. They are always chaotic and crazy, and everyone's always overly emotional and stressed and anxious. And so if we split it up just between 2 days, you immediately relieve some of that.
Yeah.
Without losing any of the specialness.
And you're saying kind of almost like in this scenario, it's almost like the ceremony is a little bit more intimate.
Yes. It's what it's supposed to be.
Like intimate.
Your ceremony is not supposed to be a theatrical production.
Yeah.
It's not. It's supposed to be a real moment.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be you and your fiance sharing your love and your commitment with the people that are most important to you. So by making that a whole separate day, you actually add more significance to it. And it allows you to truly be in that moment rather than focusing on, we got to do our first dance later. So I got to make sure that, that I don't step on my dress during a ceremony or, you're thinking about other things that are coming after. Right. Just focus on the ceremony.
Because you want the reception to be like, it's the party. Like it's the event. And that is the event that we're trying to, that's realistically, I feel like too, when we're talking about event design planning, the reception's really kind of what I'm sure people are really thinking about. The ceremony is more just like,
it's an afterthought for most people.
Yeah.
Which is really sad because it's the whole reason we're there.
I know. I was about to say, I'm like, is it the ceremony? Like, I know.
It's the whole point.
I don't know, girl. I know. I mean, it's funny. I mean, as someone, so I'm Greek. I'm born and raised full Greek. Okay,
Amazing.
So our weddings are a whole.
I love Greek weddings.
Girl, listen. I mean, the ceremony. Those are both equal. I mean, I haven't got there yet for myself, but I've grown up. I've been to way more Greek weddings than I have American. But I mean, there's a lot that goes into both. So I mean, I could see on my end why I'd want to separate that because those are both very stressful.
Yeah.
The ceremony for us was just as much as the reception.
Right. Well, and Greek ceremonies are long.
Girl,
long.
Oh, yeah.
Very ornate and very specific.
They are, yes. I mean, have you seen the movie, My Big Fat Greek
Oh,
Wedding?
totally. Yes.
Okay, well,
we just had a wedding in Mykonos this May. So,
girl.
we were doing the whole thing. But yeah, no, I mean, it's and especially if you do have a cultural wedding.
Yeah, it's different.
It allows you to kind of fuse those together too, because you can please everybody with your traditional Greek ceremony, and then you can do what you want for your reception without ruffling many feathers. Yeah. And I think the other thing is like the old people, some of your family, they don't care about coming to the dinner and the party. Yeah. They just want to see you get married. Yeah. So you can also help reduce your guest count by splitting off
I see what
2
you're
days.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of just like a different vibe. Like you have the people come in for like the intimate experience, but then your reception is kind of like, let's focus on more like the party aspect.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder too, and I wonder if doing it this way, and I'm sure some people listening may be like, I still don't know how I feel about that. But I'm sure there could
Totally.
be ways to do that in a budget way too, maybe because you're small, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Too.
Yeah, you can make each event intimate.
Yeah.
Some of your college friends might not really care about seeing your ceremony.
Yeah.
But they definitely want to be there for the party.
That's fair.
So yeah, I mean, I know this is a completely 180 from what weddings are now.
Yeah.
But I think that with the social media aspect that is so prevalent in the wedding industry, it just doesn't make logistical sense anymore.
How has social media changed the wedding industry?
For better and worse.
Okay.
For better, I think it is so cool to see how creative people have gotten.
Yeah.
And social media has definitely pushed design aspects when it comes to your wedding.
Yeah.
Everybody wants something that they haven't seen before, or they want something that's iconic to them, or they see somebody else's work and they're like, I would have never even thought about doing something like that. But because of social media, I can see it and I can use it as inspiration.
Cool.
The bad part is the performative aspect of the wedding. I was telling you earlier, I had a bride this year that before her wedding had a whole portrait session at her venue, and then was unsatisfied with how many photos she had from her wedding day, so made her photographer and her groom go back a month later to take more portraits. Yeah. And I truly ask, why?
Yeah.
Who are these photos for? Because if they're for you, you have plenty of portraits.
Right.
But if they're for social media, then of course you want more photos, you want more content, you want more visibility, and I think that's where people have lost the plot, is that they're doing things for Instagram instead of using Instagram or TikTok or Pinterest or Facebook to just share. And we've also seen a rise in people trying to become influencers from their wedding. Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Like, they use their wedding as a way to create content to further their personal brand.
Okay.
Oh, it's happening.
Like, okay, I'm trying to visualize this.
They'll document the entire planning process.
Oh, okay. Now I'm following.
They'll document, the wedding day itself. They'll document afterwards, and then they use the content from their planning and wedding day to gain a following, and then turn that into a content creation,
like a personal brand or something like that.
Yeah.
It's hard. I think, especially with TikTok now too, which has blown up a lot. I mean, all these different apps. It's definitely changed the trajectory of how people go about a lot of things in life, but also too, it's social media has created such a different expectation.
Absolutely.
I think that's hard. And again, like I say, all these things are applicable beyond just weddings. With social media, there's an expectations of how things should be rather than what they actually are.
Yeah.
We think things are meant to be a certain way, but in reality, our consumption from everything around us has dictated how we think things are supposed to look, feel, and go.
Correct. So. And I think it's created this illusion of perfectionism.
Yeah.
Especially with weddings. You know this from events.
Of course.
Live events are not perfect. That's actually the beauty of a live event, is that they're not perfect. Those are actually
I have a funny story.
The memories that you'll create. Those are things like, my husband and I was in the industry when we got married, and I had very high expectations for myself. And some things did not go as planned. Yeah. But now we just sit there, and every year when we watch our wedding video on our anniversary, we laugh. We laugh. We're like, I can't believe that the DJ said the wrong name. I can't believe that that so-and-so fell on the dance floor. I can't believe that my dad did that dance move. It's those things that truly you look back on, you're like, those were the best moments.
Well, there's beauty in the imperfection.
Yes, there is.
I have such a funny story. I have to tell you this because I just think,
please,
because you work with vendors, you don't think. So there's one specific event I did 6 times, girl. This event took so much work. I did it twice a year. You want to talk event? I'm not on your team, but girl, you could probably hire me at this point. 6 times I ran. It was called the client photo shoot event. I had makeup, everything. Okay, it was a whole thing experience I did for my girls, and it was awesome. And something else I'm working on now, which will come later. But what I did those 6 times, obviously I learned through the process every time I did it. Even though I woke up with anxiety, I'm like, I can only control what I can control, right? Well, one of them, I woke up one day to the videographer I had saying that she was in Puerto Rico. And I said, I booked you like really long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, I'm stuck in the airport. I was flying back from Puerto Rico. I said, you were flying back the same day as the event. She goes, yeah. I said, okay, so we'll just save how I felt in that day. It was a long time ago. We have passed. So naturally, I went into a full-blown panic attack. I'm getting my makeup done. I'm calling. Again, it's not even my wedding. I felt like it was. I'm calling my friend that's a photographer. I'm like, I don't have a videographer. The event's ruined, whatever. What does my friend do? Okay, Stephanie, I got you. She gets on the computer. She goes in a Facebook group with like all these other vendors, right? How this led me to my very best friend today. I'm like, God, you work, because of this, I got led to the best videographer in the world, in my opinion. She is one of my best friends. She does more than video. She's actually a music artist, but at the time she was doing video fully. Because of this kink in the road, what I thought I needed, I got instead the best thing in the entire world because of a mistake. But what I'm saying is like, I've just learned from events and these types of things. And this person now has been my videographer for 5-6 years, and also one of my very best friends. But I look at these different things and we stress so much, but sometimes when things go wrong, you might not even realize it, but sometimes that hole in the wall ends up it becomes purpose in some way, or a laugh later, maybe. I guess it depends on the situation.
I mean, listen, and there's a difference between mistakes and someone not doing their job.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, that's fair. That is also
There's differences between that, because you are well entitled to be upset if someone is not doing their job.
Yeah.
But you have to acknowledge that mistakes will happen and things might not go the way that you plan them. I tell people all the time, I'm a planner up until the wedding day, and then I'm a problem solver. Because I have no more planning to do on the wedding day, but I do have 1,000,001 problems to solve.
There's always, I feel like it wouldn't be a wedding if something didn't go wrong, though. How could something not? I mean, I remember I had a wedding in my life a few years ago, and we had a situation where the makeup artist was over an hour late, and it pushed the ceremony completely back, and we all were like, oh my God.
That's someone not doing their job, but you can't control it. You just have to roll with it.
You really can't. And it sucks because sometimes these things do make an impact and kind of fluster things. But again, it's like, you got to, I mean, like you said, you kind of got to roll. You got to make it work sometimes.
You got to recover.
Shit happens.
The day's going to happen whether you're upset about it or not. So you just got to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think people also need to remember that, like, Instagram, social media in general, is a highlight reel.
Yeah, that's true.
Even on my feed, there are weddings that you'll never see. There are clients that you'll never see their photos on our feed. And it's not that they were bad weddings.
Yeah.
It's just that we have to market to our ideal client.
Right.
So we're going to show the work that we're most proud of. And I look at some other planners' feeds, and we're a tight-knit community. We go to lunch, like I have planners that I go to lunch with quarterly, and we talk about the industry and we talk about struggles that we're having, because we're community over competition here, as we should be. But I'll see them post a wedding and I'm like, I know all the nitty gritty details of what happened on that wedding day and how horrible that mom was and how the florist, arrived late, or how this happened and this happened, this happened. And I know the whole backstory. And then people are commenting, perfect day, blah, blah, all this stuff on it. I'm like, that's just the illusion. That's just the illusion that we've created for you. So everyone needs to remember that social media is just a sharing platform. It is not reality in any sense.
Yeah. And it's okay for things to not always be 100% okay and perfect.
Yeah. It's okay. That's life.
I know.
You know, every other day of the year, things go wrong in your life. Why would you expect your wedding day to be different?
And it's like, I mean, obviously, I think there's going to be a level of stress no matter what, but I think it's just having, like, when did we lose joy in the process of the things that are supposed to be exciting?
That is what I'm seeing in general. And to be completely honest, I have heard from more vendors this year than any other year that they are leaving the industry.
Why is that?
Because clients, I'm going to say clients, but it's probably some other aspects too, have made their jobs so hard and so stressful I was talking with a florist and she was telling me, oh, I've puked 3 times this week from stress.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And this is not an industry that people are rolling in the dough in, you know? I make the same amount of money I did year 1.
Right.
And our clients have gotten significantly higher budget.
Yeah.
We're bringing in more as a company.
Yeah.
I take home the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Because with the scaling of the company, it also means I have to invest in other areas.
Yes. Yeah.
So people would be shocked. Like, I deal with hundreds of thousands of dollars every day.
Yeah.
You should see my home.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I live in a very modest bungalow in Parma, Ohio.
Yeah. Right.
But I show up to these events where we're, you know, spending $80,000 on floral.
Yeah. I mean, people don't realize the back end.
They don't realize the back end. And for the amount that we take home, the stress, anxiety, the being on call to people is not worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, you were talking to me before about clients texting you at 2 o'clock in the morning.
100%.
We all get that too. And it's people have forgotten that the people they've hired are human beings who have other priorities besides their work.
Yeah.
And that you should be focused on the things that bring you joy in the process and let the vendors carry the rest.
It's about having faith in the team.
Yeah, trust. Trust is everything.
It really is.
No one is out here trying to take advantage of you or trying to make your life harder.
Yeah.
But we are all juggling a million things, and a little bit of empathy goes a long way.
I mean, I can speak for, again, like I said in my stuff too, it's hard. You have people that remind you why you do what you do all the time. I have people that have really crossed my path, and I'm like, you're why I do this. Like, you're why I wake up every morning and I show up and give my all. But unfortunately, when you do work in a service-based industry, you also cross paths with the certain energies that really make you want to throw in the towel. I've had quite a few interactions over the years with certain people in my job where, I mean, I've went home with tears. Like, I've made myself sick because the thing is, I do care a lot. If I didn't care, I wouldn't still be here. But unfortunately, there are people that will take advantage of how much you care and how much you put out there. There's people that respect it and they really want to be a part of who you are and what you've created. But then there's other people that they make you literally just want to stop everything. And it sucks. There's a push and pull with these industries. There really is. And I think people do forget, like you said, that we are still human beings and what we do in our service. And there is a lack of empathy. But again, it's not everyone, but you do get it too.
Yeah, and you hit it right on the head there. Like, we all care.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when you are service-based, it's so much easier to focus on the negative feedback than it is to focus on the positive.
Yeah.
Like, my love language is words of affirmation.
Same.
Ooh, if you tell me good job, I'm like,
yes.
More please, more
I'm
please.
Like, girl, like, yes, give me all of it, honey, give me it.
Yeah, I'll take anything. A little, like, oh, your hair looks good today. Oh, thank you. You know, like, if words of affirmation is my love language. So there is nothing more important to me than when I'm working with a client than their feedback.
Same.
Right?
Same.
And I'm very lucky in the way that we serve our clients and we choose our clients that, for the most part, everyone is so complimentary and says the nicest things. But every once in a while, I'll get an email from a client that will ruin my year.
Yep.
Ruin my year.
Yeah.
I will sit in bed before I go to sleep at night thinking about what they said to me.
I get it. I've been there too. Words hurt. I've had words from clients that I still think about. People forget about that because, again, if it's our love language, I get it.
And it could be the littlest thing.
I know.
Little tiny thing
I know.
that... And maybe they didn't even think that they were being that mean, or maybe they weren't even intending to be that mean, but it just hits you right in that spot where you're like, I don't know what else I could have done for them.
Right.
Like, would they, if I would have done this thing for them, would they have actually been happy?
I get it.
And some people you just won't please.
Yeah, no, you'll never please everyone, girl. And you know, and on that, and we're about to close out here. And I know me and you could probably talk for 5 hours.
Yeah,
we would start getting into it. I know I could, girl. I know. I always get. I'm just like, yeah, I could keep going. So we're gonna have to do a round 2 of this.
Absolutely,
no,
anytime,
girl. So if you had to give me like a close off, a quick one, the last words of advice that you'd want to give to a woman. I want to talk specifically to the entrepreneur here,
Right.
though. The entrepreneur, young adult woman that's kind of like where we first started. What do you want to say to them before we say goodbye here?
Don't let your dreams get in the way of opportunity. That's something my dad has said to me my entire life.
Yeah.
And I truly think I live that phrase.
Yeah.
That when an opportunity presents itself, you have to take it. You have to. And your dreams will change. They will always change. Mm-hmm. And no one knows what path they're going to go down next. Yeah. So why hold out for something when something's staring you right in the face?
Okay. Well, I got what I needed to from that. So, I hope everyone, I hear you. I embody the same thing. And, I appreciate everything. Like, I appreciate how bold you are, not just in your designs, but you as a human being.
Thank you.
And you were exactly how I expected you to be in the best way. And I love how you're unapologetically yourself. I love how that shows up in what you do. And I love how you just boldly stand up for yourself and also what you do. And like, you really empower not just the people you work with, but those around you to like be authentic. And that's whether you're planning a wedding, whether that's the people you're leading, like you are an emblem of someone that's showing up, doing it boldly, but doing it for themselves and not for the other people around them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's like the nicest thing that anyone's ever
Words
said
of
to me.
Words of affirmation. I caught that.
I'm going to be like soaking that in for probably the next couple weeks.
Yes, I'm the same way. And I hear you on that. I'm twin flame over here. But yes, I thank you seriously for everything, for coming on today. And that's all we have for today, but I'm sure I'll probably see you again in the near future.
You can bet on it.
All right. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next one.